what Canadians are sending as a message to the Trump administration is that we don't agree. We're insulted, we're mad, we're angry, and that's enough.
Let's talk live to Canada's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mélanie Joly. You saw her just behind Justin Trudeau there. I think it's worth saying to viewers here in the UK, like, how seriously do you take the talk of President Trump speaking of Canada as the 51st state?
Very seriously. This is not a joke anymore. This is not something we laugh at. This is actually based on the conversations we've had, and I've had also with many of the Trump administration officials. Because when they talk to us, it is not only about our border and the fentanyl issue and the so-called national security crisis at the northern border, which is clearly not the case, but they've put everything on the table: our military cooperation, security alliances, water, etc. So they've been threatening us of different things, and now we wanted to make sure that the Canadian public and the world was clearly informed of what was going on. And I must say, Victoria, also, I was in the UK last week, and I met with Jonathan Powell, the NSA. I met with David Lammy, the Foreign Secretary. I've met also with Morgan McSweeney, the Chief of Staff of Keir Starmer, before they went to Washington, and I informed them of what was going on in the relationship between Canada and US.
OK, well, that is very interesting. I want to talk to you about tariffs, obviously, as Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister. I don't know if you've heard, but the US Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has said tonight, President Lutnick, I beg your pardon, sorry, I can't read my own writing, said President Trump may actually roll back tariffs on Mexico and Canada as soon as tomorrow. Have you heard that? What is going on, and how is that going to affect trade?
So first and foremost, we know when it comes to the different secretaries of the Trump administration, they can say many things, but at the end of the day, the only one that really takes a decision is President Trump. And so they can be talking to us and having different types of conversations, but even them, they don't really know what the president wants. What is clear is that none of them contacted us yesterday or today regarding the tariff issue. And that was not only the case with us, it was actually the case also with Mexico. So they had the same strategy. Now, the idea of imposing 25% tariffs against us is an existential threat. We are the biggest trading partner of the US. We buy more from the US than UK, France, China, and Japan combined. So there are the millions of jobs in the US that are linked to the relationship we have with the US.
Okay, and in response, you have matched with retaliatory 25% tariffs on £84 billion worth of American goods. President Trump posted on Truth Social this: please explain to Governor Trudeau of Canada that when he puts on a retaliatory tariff on the US, our reciprocal tariff will immediately increase by a like amount. Where does it end?
Well, that's it. My job is, as being in charge of the Canadian diplomacy, is to find off-ramps. I'm talking to Secretary of State Rubio tomorrow at noon, Eastern Standard Time. But at the same time, I must be frank, we cannot let our guard down. We need to make sure that we fight back.
Okay, what are you going to say to Marco Rubio tomorrow then?
Well, of course, we need to solve this issue, but meanwhile, that's enough. No more unpredictability, because they're trying to put a pause, 30 days, and then they can continue and continue and continue. And meanwhile, we're always there trying to think what will be next.
And can I ask you how offended you are by President Trump calling Prime Minister Trudeau Governor Trudeau?
Listen, we had enough with this rhetoric. No Canadians now are having fun with this. And there's a reason why Canadians, when they go at a hockey game, are booing the American national anthem. It's not against the American people. We're the best friends of the American people. We have many, many friends and families on south of the border. We're the ones that know the American best because we're in their just North American reality every single day. But what we're sending, what Canadians are sending as a message to the Trump administration is that we don't agree. We're insulted, we're mad, we're angry, and that's enough. And so we will retaliate, we'll use our economic strength, we will be united, because we know when Canadians are united, we win. And we know what happens in the US right now. What is happening is that we're seeing that more and more there's a fraction within American society. And when Americans themselves would understand that our counter tariffs are having an impact on their loved ones losing their jobs, or it's costing more at the pump, or costing more at the grocery store, they will say, President Trump, it's enough. You have to make sure you settle this issue with Canada. And so we didn't start this trade war. We didn't want this trade war. We did everything that was required under the executive order to make sure our border was safe and secure. But at the end of the day, Victoria, let's be frank, this is a bogus excuse on the part of the Trump administration against us. The U.S. is a net exporter of illegal drugs to Canada. It is a net exporter of illegal migrants to Canada. Canadians know this. They see through what is happening. And so that's why we're all united and all rallying up around our beautiful flag.
Your Prime Minister tweeted a photo of his meeting at the weekend, when you were here in the UK as well, with King Charles, who is, of course, Canada's head of state. And Justin Trudeau tweeted, and our viewers are seeing the tweet now, we spoke about matters of importance to Canadians, including, above all, Canada's sovereign and independent future. Those words, of course, will have been chosen with care and will have been put into the public domain to reflect the views and intent of the Prime Minister and the Sovereign. Could I ask you, do you welcome this public commitment from King Charles that Canada is not up for grabs?
Absolutely. He's the head of our state, like he is of yours. And I got many questions regarding the relationship between Canada and UK. And what I've said times and times again is there no country on earth will be able to divide Canada and the UK. We are bound by our history. We're bound by our friends and families. Canadians, it is part of our DNA to have a relationship with the UK. And of course, we have the same head of state. So we will stand strong, we'll work with the UK, work with our European allies. But Victoria, Canadians are going through a tough time right now. We're strong, we're united, but let's be frank also, we're the canary in the coal mine. Europeans are next, the UK is next. And so we need to work together. That's also why I went to London, to make sure that if there are tariffs imposed, we should work on counter tariffs as well. That's why I also went to Paris, to Munich.
Well, do you want more help from the UK? Sorry to interrupt. Do you want more help from the UK? Do you want them to show more solidarity with you when it comes to these tariffs?
I think that the Prime Minister was there over the weekend on Ukraine. We're completely aligned on trade, on Ukraine, on NATO, on everything that is linked to foreign policy right now. And so we should just reinforce each other, because what is going on right now is that there's a lot of unpredictability and chaos coming out of Washington. And I'm the head of the diplomacy in Canada, Victoria. I know what I'm saying right now. I understand the strength of my words right now, but it is important for people that are watching us to understand what is going on in the US. There is definitely an issue that is happening with the president using his own executive powers and not necessarily following what is required under their entire constitution. And that's what he's doing with his own executive order against Canada on the border on fentanyl, and at the same time on imposing tariffs.
One more question, if I may. We've taken much of your time and we're grateful. Do you think that Donald Trump has shown sufficient respect to King Charles? If Donald Trump got his way, he would be dislodging the King as Canada's head of state.
Well, I think that I look forward for the King to make sure that he stands in solidarity with Canadians, and I think he's doing that right now. I'm happy the Prime Minister Trudeau had the chance to meet with him. I think also that we will continue to work and reinforce the Starmer government, which is a key ally. But we need to be united in this. And this cannot be just one against the other because we think we can have a better relationship with Washington. No, we need to be united, and being united, we will be able to bring Washington to a better sound place. And coming from a Canadian, I think that has a lot of weight.
Thank you very much for talking to our UK audience tonight. Thank you very much.